57 seconds.
Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, a special episode for the Jaguar I-Pace. And I wonder, is that like Italian? Could it be like I-Pace or something? I-Pace, I don't know. But
no, Jaguar, like,
more importantly,
they're English, aren't they?
More importantly, who's that? Who's that?
Somebody here?
Let me proudly introduce What Drives Us co-founder, my good friend, Mr. Danny Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. It's very nice to be back. I missed being around all the miscreants that are part of this crew.
I'm sorry, did you just say miscreants? Because
I did.
I'm going to hit the eject button on that one.
I did. I totally said it.
Wow. Facebook is supposed to send me a reminder for the Jaguar event. Guess
I've got the video up and it's not going yet. But we are here to show everybody the I-Pace. Yes.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
It'll be a fun day today.
You think?
Oh, what's this?
This is audio.
I've got an image.
From Jaguar. I have no idea. I guess it's like yodeling and hi, I'm here with let me get this video. Wow, this video,
shall we?
It's very tiny. It's very tiny. Like,
did they not do it on YouTube?
No, apparently not. Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay. I wonder if I can get rid of the. So I don't know. This is here we go. Here's some this is like the pre-event video, I guess. This is probably Jaguar being really, really cool. You know, I don't know.
Is there audio you can feed in?
Yeah, absolutely. How's that?
I still can't hear it. Oh, I hear some lovely German.
There we go. Hey, live from Austria. Look, they even brought a robot.
The launch of Jaguar's first ever electric vehicle, the new Jaguar I-Pace. But why am I in Graz? It's a question.
That's a good question, sir. Why are
again and again. Graz, widely regarded as one of Europe's greatest cities. It has. Why are you laughing? That's serious. It has so much to offer, like the Grazberg, a government building which boasts two staircases.
Why are all these people sending hearts? Because this guy's talking about a city in Austria.
Maybe they're all from Graz.
I guess. It would also appear that we're building an I-Pace live in the background.
Well, that's kind of become the Tesla model, isn't it? They kind of do everything in the back and then bring the car out within seconds of it being done.
No, we're here because this is the epicenter.
You might be right, sir.
Of hydroelectric power in the EU.
Oh,
hydroelectric.
Yes.
I also bet you didn't know that Austria ranks amongst the most specialized countries.
So where would they have done the Mirai video if they did electric? Would that been in like a cow field or something?
Atlantis. All over the world.
From the lost continent of Atlantis. I think that's, I mean...
Wow, they're actually producing them.
Yeah. Whoa. Was that a smack at another electric car company just now?
I'm going to go on for the whole show because I'm finding it quite distracting. Could we stop it, maybe? Maybe kill it? Oh my god, that's actually worked. I didn't know. Okay, we're not making any more I-Paces at the moment.
Do anyone? Who is this guy? Is he someone?
He might be in Europe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at these. Looks like the floor.
Yeah, I was just going to say the battery pan.
Yeah.
However, if there
Interesting
are
how the
there's only
cells-
one man I want on my
They're
team,
not really crammed in there, are they?
Award-winning motoring journalist and broadcaster Johnny Smith.
Oh, Johnny Smith. Who the hell is Johnny Smith? Am I supposed to know who Johnny Smith is?
That guy, obviously.
It's a real pleasure to be here, to be part of this special moment in Jaguar history.
See, he says it right. Jaguar.
Anniversary.
Jaguar.
It's also the 70th.
Can you jack up your audio anymore, Russell?
My audio or the event audio?
The event audio.
A bit of
Yeah.
a voyage of discovery. Only our voyage, my
Better?
voyage actually, will involve
Yes.
moving off this stage and over there into the factory to see firsthand what Jaguar do, how they work their magic.
What would they do?
You sit here in your comfy I-Pace chair and I'll just crack on. All right?
Off you go.
Wow.
Promise me one thing as well, Johnny. When you're talking to the factory workers, try not to act manly, okay? You let yourself down last time. Johnny, we'll see you in a bit.
Hey, was that an inside joke that no one understands but
I
that?
have no idea.
I don't.
Maybe you had to watch the pre-show.
This is sort of like my rule for comedians and stand-up specials. Don't do the first 10 minutes in some sort of like story that no one cares about. Just get on stage and be funny.
I will be chatting to two people called Ian. One is the vehicle line director for Jaguar.
Oh yeah, just a reminder
The other
they
is a
are
man who over
going
the past 24 hours I have bonded
into the
with in a
Formula E
serious
race
and at times
in this
passionate
car,
way.
something that Tesla has
Jaguar
not been
want
willing
me
to
to
do
call
yet.
him the director of design, but the only title I know him by now is the title of friend. It's my new bae, my brother from another mother, the absolute dreamboat that is Ian Callum, director of design. Oh,
Wow, that was quite an introduction. Like they have a
It is.
relationship
It
or
is.
something.
Something.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not being judgy. I'm just saying, you know, like,
I also at this point want to offer a
I would
special
love to
welcome
kill this
those
chat,
tuning in live around the world,
but I
including
can't.
those in Dusseldorf, Guten Tag, and
Yeah.
Oslo. Hello. You can get involved along with everyone else watching right now around the world. Send in your comments and questions. Please keep them on topic, though. The last time I announced that to the public, you have no idea the kind of suggestions I received.
There we go.
Use
That might be
hashtag Jaguar electrifies or hashtag I-Pace.
no, let's
And
not. How's
you
that?
lucky people will be the first audience to see a
How's
brand new
that?
documentary later on tonight.
I mean, not that I have a
It's
problem with them saying that. You know, we beg people to do stuff all the time, but.
Hey Russell, why don't you set your window to be the
Present.
presenter? Because I
There
keep
you
popping in over the video, I think.
Well, if the video were more exciting, I probably would have done it earlier. Okay, so here at least
Oh,
this
there
is,
they are. They are. They're producing them exactly as the Model 3 is currently produced by hand.
yeah, made out of clay, apparently. Okay, so I mean, you know, this is
Why was the girl with the camera holding the wind?
I don't know.
Dude.
Why did she have a handheld DSLR? When you make us watch this stuff, these are the questions we ask. I would really, I do find that all the exposure of the battery pan very interesting. You know,
They're very proud of it.
There's no seatbelt.
Well-
Okay, I'm going to have to risk it without.
All right, can you crank the audio back up?
Welcome our wonderful
I'm sorry?
Studio audience.
Can you crank the Facebook
Here they
audio back
are.
up?
yeah, I didn't crank it down.
If they weren't excited enough already, someone in this room could be walking away tonight with a brand new I-Pace. You'll have to pay for it. That made it sound like there was a competition. We're giving one away. No, you will have to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
But you do find yourselves in a very privileged position. You're going to be
Well.
given an exclusive insight into the new Jaguar
Privileged.
I-Pace. Firstly, to show you how fast an I-Pace charges, we are going to turn on that car right now, and the charge will be shown right there on the screen.
This is the
Oh.
exciting part
40
of
minutes.
the
No
I-Pace, I
problem.
think.
I've heard you can get up to 100 kilometers by plugging in for just 15 minutes. That's like chatting on your mobile phone for a whole week on one 15-minute charge. Now, still to come, we'll be heading over to Mexico for an incredible challenge.
Why is it
What we're
under
doing
a
today's event
cloth?
is already
Everybody's
causing quite
seen
a
it.
stir on social media.
You
And
keep
here
showing
with a
video
close eye
of
on
it.
the buzz is a
Yeah.
lady who's shot to fame with
I
her
get it.
unboxing
Oh, my-
films. She knows her
Let's
tech,
welcome
and she
everyone.
knows
A little
how to
round of
take
applause.
unboxings.
Mr. Ed
Not only
Niedermeyer.
that,
Thank you,
but her
Ed.
name is
Yeah.
very on brand. It's the lovely
Hope I haven't
Justine.
missed too much.
So far, all you've missed is filling.
To our studio audience, over
Okay.
45,000
I'm-
people pressed
I'm
play
turning
on
down
on Jaguar.com. And
The studio audience interview, so we can chat for a minute.
lucky viewers
I don't think we're going to
Join
miss
us here
anything.
for all of this fun and the amazing reveal that we're going to have today. Plus, we have fans tuning in.
How did an American sneak into this event? It's in Austria. It's an English car company.
Hashtag Jaguar electrifies and hashtag I-Pace.
It's Jaguar.
Have them pronouncing it properly.
Yeah, it's Jaguar, please.
Nats Coomer, who says, "I am so excited that Jaguar is now making."
So this is at the Magna Steyr plant.
This is you've already out auto journalisted me, okay, dude? Come on. This is in Graz, Austria. That's all I know.
Okay, yeah. So Magna Steyr is the contract manufacturer that is building this for Jaguar.
Is it the same as the weapons company?
No. So originally it was one big conglomerate. That's Steyr Mannlicher is the arms company. Steyr was split off and either merged or purchased by Magna, which is a gigantic Canadian supplier company.
A Canadian company. I love that.
Yeah. So this is Magna Steyr sort of is Canadian Austrian combo.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, let's
put through its paces, its I-Paces, where it took on a challenge in Mexico with a little help from the Panasonic Jaguar Formula E team. And our presenter, Natalie Pinkham, is over there to join in with the four-wheeled electric.
It's like a global live stream. I'll give him credit for the
very special reveal of the brand new Jaguar I-Pace. 2 cars, 2 drivers, and the challenge.
Okay, I'm confused. Natalie Pinkham has a W
as fast as possible. Join us a little later
around her neck.
I don't want to spoil
things like that. Confuse me.
Looking proper car wins. The British one.
It's like, what are you talking about? I get it, dude.
That race and the car unveiling, and even more excitingly, you in the studio and at home will get to see the live, sparkling chemistry between me and my new best friend, Ian Callum, Director of Design. Please remember to keep your questions and comments coming in. Hashtag Jaguar electrifies and hashtag I-Pace as we get ever closer to the reveal of the I-Pace.
To tweet to them, get it on, move it.
Anyway, everyone
pick up the pace.
Talking about smart technology. If, like me, you still think a CD auto changer is impressive,
Ian Callum there had a design. He's a great guy. I once was a stroke of luck. Got to spend several hours with him at the GM Heritage Center, just looking at old cars. And this is a guy who loves and knows cars like very few people on this planet.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, sir, if you'd like to jump in.
Very funny. Are your parents here?
Look, it's cute kids, everybody.
Okay.
Cute kids.
Get in the car.
The whole car is a 4G Wi-Fi hotspot.
Where's the button to delete internet history? You know, just in case I'm buying a gift for someone and I don't want them to see what it is.
An inappropriate internet history joke with children. Yay. Thank you. Okay, I'm less than entertained.
I-Pace recognizes your key fob as you approach and automatically adjusts to your preferences, like temperature, seat position, and your favorite radio station.
Coming up next on Celine Dion FM. Obviously, that's broken.
The onboard system is built-in AI.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Spy stuff. Where is the ejector seat button?
There is no ejector seat.
Hubcap lasers?
It's a learning computer that calculates your exact range based on weather, traffic, and your driving style.
Learning computer. You two are cramping my style. I'm out of here.
Zip it.
So what's the chance this shows up in the next Bond movie?
How'd you do that?
0 to 60.
They'll have Daniel Craig for one more, so probably not. But yeah, I
talk. I'm all about the talk.
James Bond in Range Anxiety.
The real problem Bond has as an aging super spy. Will I make it to the next charging station? So in any kind of thing like this, you're telling a story. What does this like bring you? Does this make you feel warm and fuzzy about Jaguar? Does this? I'm not like. What does this do?
I'm kind of with you on this. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly they're going for here, other than right? Like they don't want to present the functionality of the car in a really boring way. But
we didn't. So we learned about the key fob, and it does what like a Kia key fob does.
Never work with children.
Yeah.
What? Super impressive.
Anyway, I'm in production heaven in the middle of the factory.
Production heaven.
Humans and robots just here. But the actual,
That was a good troll.
That's
even if
funny.
you have no idea what an axle is and you didn't know that it fits into a chassis, it kind of doesn't matter. Just look
This
at that.
whole shot of them
It's
making
a
the
beautiful
cars is
sight. And this
cool.
happens here in Graz.
Oh, no
every
doubt,
single
don't
day.
you think?
And this process of the engine or the electric motors being joined to the body shell.
All right,
is
I
in
gotta
the
step
case
out
of the
for
I-Pace,
just a
it's
second
got
and
two
take a call.
electric
I'll be
motors,
right back.
one on the back
Of course, Ed. Thank you.
because it's four-wheel drive. Now I'm going to continue watching this for a couple of minutes because I'm totally transfixed by it, and then I'm going to come.
That's
and join
one
you,
of
Jack,
us.
for the big reveal.
Oh, I like watching cars being made.
Either I've accidentally turned on the heated seat or I've soiled myself. Oh, sorry. So, an I-Pace takes about 8 hours to build once it's in the trim part of the factory, but it only takes a fraction of that time to charge. Let's see where we are with our charging studio car. 38%, not bad at all. And now the moment I've been waiting for, over in Mexico, where the I-Pace is about to take part in a fantastic head-to-head challenge.
Here's-
a quarter of a mile, a deserted section of a Formula E track.
Here's the confusing part for me. We've seen the I-Pace, I don't know, 20 or 30 times, but it's not the I-Pace because it hasn't been revealed yet. I feel like I'm being too logical, but I don't get all this.
Well, you're not seeing the whole car. You're seeing panic. Oh, well, there's the whole car.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Is that the car or not? Have they just revealed the entire car?
Pretty sure that was the whole car. Oh, and Natalie's going to show us the whole thing too.
Natalie.
With a very special challenge, showing that innovating from
It's
race
like
to
X and an S had
the forefront of the EV revolution.
a
And here
big.
it is, the I-Pace, all electric.
And for some reason, it came out with a mutant Lexus grill. Yeah.
Seconds. So, what of its challenger? We've brought along a
Oh my
car from an
God.
established player in the EV
Other EV.
market. But does it have what it takes to beat the Jaguar
A 75D?
in our head-to-head
Not the
challenge?
performance model.
Driving the I-Pace is Panasonic Jaguar Racing's Kiwi Formula E star, Mitch Evans. In the Tesla is Brazilian Indy 500 winner and former IndyCar
Who's
champ,
never driven an
Tony
EV
Kanaan.
before?
The challenge is very simple. From a standing start, the drivers have to reach 60 miles per hour as fast as possible and then brake to a standstill. The one covering the shortest distance wins. Capiche?
I got it.
Who's going to win?
The I-Pace is lighter, agile. I've got this.
Come on then, enough of the talking. Get in the cars.
And he had practice time. This is interesting that they are taking on Tesla at every opportunity.
There's a lot of features of Tesla that they're making sure to show.
Yeah.
Pop out handles.
Bring it on.
How they got Vin Diesel for this, I don't know. That might have been-
And
I feel like this wasn't done live. What do you think?
yeah,
It feels like a lot of post production in this.
feels like a lot of post work. I'm
This is quite a walk. Mate, I smashed it. I need a faster car. Can you get me the P100D? Well, for the price of a P100D, I could almost buy two of these. Sure.
Ooh.
ah.
get another car to try.
So the oh,
That is the bigger brother to the first Model X. It's the 100D. It's more powerful than the 75D, but will it be quick enough to beat the I-Pace? Let's find out.
is it a P100D?
Okay, so the P100D is about 140,
Let's do this!
which would make the I-Pace about 70 grand.
I guess. And it stops quicker. I'm not sure that I'm super impressed with the stopping part, but I get why they're
So
doing
2
it.
out of 2.
because it
Jaguar
makes it
have
more
won by
exciting.
similar distance
It,
again.
it highlights a difference, but
Pretty smart and rightly so. How did it feel?
I'm
Great.
frankly
It's also
kind of
and also brought up really well.
cheers to
Yes, I thought I had him, but 2 out of 2, I give up.
Jaguar
Said
for
that the
actually
Jaguar
taking
set to shake
Tesla
up the
by the
evolution.
throat and going, yeah, we're going to shake you until you're dead.
They're certainly not ignoring them, that's for sure. And I mean, just in general conversation that I've had with people that I know who have been luxury car buyers for the last 30 years, when they sit down in a Tesla, they see a marked difference between getting in a Porsche or a Jaguar or something like that compared to getting into a Tesla, especially from an interior perspective. And so, you know, I don't know if this is trying to exclusively speak to them and, you know, show why a move to or not a move, but, you know, finally jumping in to an EV makes sense because it's a Jaguar. And it's built like a Jaguar.
I have to say, I think it's a brilliant strategy, marketing-wise. Hey, Patrick. Well, everybody, welcome Patrick Connor.
Hello, can you hear me?
P. Yes. Connor.
So the Portland is in the house.
Yeah.
Well represented.
Man. Oh, Patrick's setup has gotten even more impressive since we've last seen Patrick.
I tried to avoid shows with Ed, but I'm here anyway, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason we are all here today in Graz, please show your appreciation for the stunning new Jaguar I-Pace.
I feel like we've seen this car already today.
Yeah, like a million times. Like it's an old friend.
Have any of you looked at or sat in the concept version?
No.
I've not had a chance.
Nope.
It's so at the LA Auto Show, they had it directly across from the Tesla booth, facing right at it. Very subtle positioning there, but it's a pretty slick car. I think it's the probably the one vehicle that looks and feels sort of most like a Tesla of anything else on the market, or coming up on the market. Right?
Brand new Jaguar I-Pace and its designer Ian Callum, director of design.
Interesting. Wow. Kind of the two-toneness of it's a little, dare I suggest, BMW I series stuff.
I was about to say, it does look very I with four doors, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must be so proud. It looks so proud. I would drive that car.
It almost looks like it's like a mashup of the S and the X, right?
That's what I said right after you left.
And I know how
Danny said that earlier, and
get behind the wheel of this car. Well, now you can. As of this moment, it is available.
Are those flat door handles?
Now, still
that pop out.
My new best friend, the yin to my yang, the Siegfried to my Roy, Ian Callum, director of design. And I'll also be meeting a second Ian Hoban. Don't worry, you're my favorite. Keep your questions coming in at hashtag Jaguar Electrifies and hashtag I-Pace. Now a chance to discover how the Jaguar team produced not just another electric car, but a true Jaguar car. That sounded. You like the sound of that, though. I should do the voiceovers for Jaguar, definitely. You're gonna. This is.
Yeah,
my
I don't think
favorite
so,
line in the whole
sir.
script. Get ready for this.
I don't think so. I'm sorry.
The car that electricity has been waiting for. That's good. That is. Come on. The Jag bigwigs love that. Let's find out a little more.
But wait, there's one more thing. Oh.
I'm really passionate about sustainability. My business is based around building low energy houses. And
I want one clicker.
Energy lifestyles. So
what is that?
As well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I-Pace.
rear headroom are very good. Yep.
Steering wheel's on the wrong side, kids. Oh.
Yeah, that does not look like much of an off-roader.
No. I mean, all of a sudden I'm thinking of the guy in Norway that's roached his Model X, like going off into the woods and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you too can drive out to your country home.
Patrick, what you missed is that Jag has taken Tesla head on. They had 2 drag races with a Model X.
What was it? 060, right?
Yeah, it's 060. Excuse me. Yeah. Which obviously, you know, they contrived intentionally because it favors the technology and the I-Pace, I guess. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, of course. You're not going to show a benchmark where they lose on their own stuff. Yeah,
on their own debut. But interesting that they went and they took on the big kid in the playground right away.
That's awesome.
As Ed said, they.
Yeah. Hello. How are you? Yeah, it's good. Good. So this is your newest baby.
It is, right? And the team. Yeah.
And it's fair to say that it is unconventional for a Jag.
It is very unconventional anyway. I mean, it's quite different, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, for starters, in Jaguar terms, long bonnet, where's that gone?
Yeah, long bonnets. We had long bonnets because we had big engines. Okay. Big V8s or 6 cylinders. There is no engine in front of this except a small electric motor sitting between the wheels. So we can have a short bonnet. And the great thing about that, of course, is it gives all the rest of the room over to the occupants.
Right.
It's got to be an advantage.
It's quite aero efficient. Was it designed by the wind tunnel or was it designed by you?
A lot of physics in this car, I have to tell you. There's the airflow comes through this vent here at the front, off the front, flows over the roof, perfectly formed roof to hold onto the air, then through to the back. Okay. And it holds onto the car all the way through. All about physics.
This is quite an abrupt backside, can I say?
It is, yeah, especially for Jaguar. But, you know, believe it or not, square back ends in the car are more efficient for aerodynamics than rounded back ends.
Yeah.
Worth bearing in mind. Yeah. So we've cut off the back and we've followed physics to a T on this car.
It's interesting. One of the things that designers of electric cars have told me, the designer at Lucid, for example, is that, you know, especially premium high-end cars, for
it's a bit creepy, but don't worry.
Yeah.
It's so that I can
communicate their prestige by having really long hoods. It's actually quite difficult to make a car look really premium and expensive without that big hood space.
But the great thing
so it's just kind of an interesting design challenge.
Usable space.
Well, I mean, that's the tradition, right? Going back to what, the X-type Jags?
With the long hood,
with the or is it the E-type? I forget.
The E-type, yeah. The X-type was something different. The E-type, had infamously long hood. Yeah,
right. Heinously long hood.
Oh, gorgeous in my opinion, but
it's a beautiful car. Death trap, but it was a beautiful car.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that gets into this problem of how do you keep that look and feel and yet do what now the physics needs.
Well, I mean, you obviously have to develop a new vocabulary and make that sexy, right? Which the car companies did once, and now they're fighting the old paradigm that they previously set up. You know, long hood Corvette, good.
Yes, I think this car, the XJ was a very radical car in 1968. This car is just as radical now.
Yeah, it's interesting too that I think that sort of hatchback proportions end up looking better when you have a short hood.
Well, obviously there's a bit of a buzz going on social media about this car.
Hatchbacks are seen
It's
also
growing, and Justine, is that maintaining law and order for us? What's going on, Justine?
Crossover.
There is a lot going on online, and everyone here is also
sort of
excited.
that way to make
is also
a car with the short hood.
I have some tweets here.
Sort of
this one specifically from Sergio. I've never been a car guy.
And I hate to be mean, but has anybody seen a more boring-looking crowd than this? Look at these people. Were they sedated before the event?
They're British.
Yeah. Ouch.
They talked about the hood, but does it have a frunk?
I love how spacious it is.
That's a good question.
They haven't really given anything. The interesting thing, though, I think in that last little bit was that it's on sale today. You can go buy one today. Okay. Obviously trying to differentiate themselves from, let's say, another electric car company.
I doubt you could go buy 400,000 of them today.
Wow.
Tend to listen to Michael Bublé.
Yeah. How many Model 3s is Tesla building right now a week? Like,
now with me,
according to Bloomberg, it's not even actually at the 1,000 that
We've had lots of questions.
But these are different segments, obviously.
Fan questions for Ian Callum. I don't know whether that's fans of cars or specifically Ian Callum fans. That's how much of a big dog he is in the automotive world. He has his own fandom. They're like believers, but mainly men in their 60s. Okay.
There is a frunk.
Stop it.
Oh, is there?
Yep.
Failing me now.
First question. What is your favorite thing about the I-Pace?
I love the overall shape of the car. It's quite distinctive. It's quite different. It's quite radical. And of course, the fact that it's electric.
Scoop on the hood.
Guilt-free. Guilt-free. How much has it changed from the original concept car? See here.
Actually, very little. A few millimeters here and there. But overall, this does represent the concept car. We built a concept car that you can buy.
Yep, still there.
How difficult is it building a car's shape around a battery rather than an engine?
It's actually much simpler, to be honest with you, because you have much more freedom. You don't have to worry about these great big lumps of metal we used to deal with. So it's actually a little easier.
Yeah.
More fun.
More fun.
Much more fun.
Jags have power and presence, like their designer, Ian Callum. It doesn't say that. I've added that.
Just walk over there and punch him,
How
okay?
different is it driving a battery version without the engine roar?
Well, you know, Jaguars have been known for the roar of their V8s and straight sixes, but also there's a serenity in Jaguars history as well. the lovely limousines that were very smooth to drive. This car is full of serenity and quietness, and it's a wonderful place to be.
It also has a wonderful interior. Will we see a host of new Jaguar cars with this new modern interior?
Yes, this is actually a template for the next generation of Jaguars. You'll see lots more of this in all of our cars.
Final question. This comes from your biggest fan. He's called Jack, and he's from London. And he asks, will we be keeping in touch after this event?
Yes, Jack.
Thank you, Ian. No, yes, round of applause.
Actually, yeah, one of the areas that I'm really interested to see how this compares to Tesla is actually NVH, the noise, vibration, harshness. Wind noise in particular is something I've noticed in almost all the Teslas I've driven. They're just not as quiet as you would expect an electric car to be. And I'm curious if this or other premium electric cars that are coming out are going to address that.
Jaguar's I-Pace, our first electric car. This is a TT car, tooling triad.
Well, it's certainly a chance. I mean, if Tesla's left an opening, it's certainly something that companies like Jag can exploit, or Porsche or Mercedes, you know, once they actually produce
Audi.
the cars and get them out there. Audi.
Yep. Because the Audi is coming out this year, right? The e-tron Quattro. Pretty sure that's, at least in Europe, I think it starts delivery later this year.
I don't know. I've heard that before. I'll wait until.
Yeah. Audi's been a little sketchy about that.
Yeah, reservations are open 10 months ago.
The luxury of a Jaguar car.
Yeah, so Tesla's been inviting competition, and it's great to see that they're finally going to get some.
Yeah, absolutely.
I truly enjoy
That is not a favorable angle.
This is a great car. It is absolutely comfortable. It's a great ride, and can't wait for it to be on the market.
Well, thank you. We can't either.
It is today, I heard.
Yeah, it is today. Yeah, go figure, right?
Here
we are.
Where the all-important 90 kilowatt-hour battery pack down there is brought up and met the chassis of the I-Pace there. But how does the I-Pace battery actually work? Well, earlier today,
they zip tie it, or
demonstrate.
Yeah, it's interesting that they would go 90 when Tesla's already at 100. You would think if they wanted to come out and say, "Hey, we're going to take on Tesla," that they'd do 120 or something.
Okay, I'm going to try and explain how an I-Pace battery.
I mean, they certainly. Okay.
I cannot wait.
Okay, let's.
I'm going to turn this down. Sorry.
Need to supply voltage.
I don't know. I mean, is that in electric cars? That's like the ultimate determinator. Is the size of the battery pack in a sense.
Not the only metric, but it is certainly an easy one, and
right.
It relates to performance. It relates to range. It's an easy. Oh, which one's bigger? You know, it's like processors with clock speed. Sometimes that's just a quick and easy way to look at things, but it's not the only thing that matters by any means. But people do look at it.
Sure.
I think one of the things that I'm kind of glad there's not purely just an arms race in terms of size of battery, because the research indicates that, you know, really, really big batteries, sort of over a certain size, the carbon intensiveness of producing those really offsets the advantages of low carbon operating, low carbon per mile operation. And you know, there's been some controversy around some of those studies, but I think it's you know, if there's an environmental aspect to electric cars, which I think most people agree there are, or there is, you know, having an arms race where it's like everyone's trying to build a bigger battery is going to not deliver those environmental benefits.
Well, and they seem to make a big deal that the I-Pace is lighter than the Model X, which obviously
Model X is really heavy. You can't drive a Model X over the Brooklyn Bridge. You know that?
Less village.
I did not know that.
It's too heavy.
Patrick's smiling. I drove my Model X over the Brooklyn Bridge. What, Patrick?
I do have an X, and I'm nowhere near Brooklyn, so I'm not too worried about it. But I doubt that they're actually going to pull a X off and say, no, you can't go. I think it'll just happen.
Yeah.
So, but you live in a town with tons of bridges.
I sure do, yep.
So
I don't know of any weight restrictions here in Portland.
Do you know off the top of your head what an X curb weight is?
It's over 6,000 pounds.
Is it really?
It is. And in fact, there was speculation because it's so much heavier than the S there's speculation that they might have just made it heavier than it needed to be in order to qualify for that, that Bush era small business, like big tax credit, the Hummer credit or whatever they called it.
Yep.
There's some speculation that they put it over that weight just so that it would qualify for that tax credit.
I wish I had a small business. I would have totally written it. I would have done $30,000 off the price of my car.
It's so big write-off. Yeah.
I have to say I'm not comfortable arguing with either one of you, but I put it into Google, and the Tesla is not on the over 6,000 pound tax credit list. And
really?
It says that it weighs between 5185 and 5377.
Huh.
Curb weight. This is just
so not gross vehicle weight is going to be heavier, and that's what they do for those weight limits.
That's what they use.
Okay, fair enough.
I travel a lot for work, and I'm trying to make cutbacks whenever I can. So I want to have solar panels on my roof.
GVWR.
And I think this is really sexy to look at. It still looks like
okay. So gross vehicle weight rating 6581 to 6768. Wow, that is a porky car.
Yeah, Inside EVs reported 2 years ago that the Model X exceeds the weight limit of the Brooklyn Bridge.
That's heavy.
Yeah, 6,768 pounds.
It's those damn Falcon Wing doors.
Might be.
How many times a day do you think Elon hates himself for the Falcon Wing doors?
I love him. I haven't had any problems with him.
I'm talking Elon, though. He's got to pay for him. I get that.
Yeah.
They're cool. I don't have a problem with them, but I think it's caused them no end of trouble.
Yeah, 3 years delay in it coming out, and definitely some problems.
At least one supplier lawsuit.
Yeah, I doubt the Y is going to have anything like that.
Sorry, Jack. No offense, mate. I'm going to stay here and savor the moment for a bit. Jack, it's back to you in the studio.
So have they talked about charging yet?
Sorry, I was just buying me and Ian some Lads on Tour t-shirts to commemorate our dirty weekend in Graz.
Okay.
They are joined by Jaguar's vehicle line director Ian Hoverman. Welcome.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to turn them back down. Yes, they're actually charging an I-Pace under. Oh, there it is, right there. And they said they're going to get 100 kilometers in a very short period of time. I don't remember what that was. Danny, do you by any chance?
No, but reading CNET's thing, they've got 100 kilowatt DC fast charger. Goes from 0 to 80% charge in 40 minutes.
In 40 minutes.
7 kilowatt level 2 home charger would take 10 hours to go the same.
Ouch.
And it's CCS, right?
I'm guessing so, yeah.
Yeah.
So on a single charge, I-Pace will go.
So again, Tesla's is 120 and theirs is 100. If they want to take on Tesla directly, you should at least match them.
But
so at home, it will charge in just over 12 hours.
But why? In other words, if Tesla specs, just because the number's bigger doesn't mean it's better.
Yeah, that is true. And from the forums, it's pretty clear that most people don't regularly hit the specified number, which of course is the case for so many things.
Yeah,
right.
And
but if you're getting 110 and it's rated at 120, but you only get 110 on Jags, you're going to get 95, 90, and you're not going to get 100.
I'm actually not super. I mean, I think clearly in the early stages of Tesla's history, it was a really important. And superchargers performed a really important psychological role in driving adoption. But I think as EVs become more, as there are more options, as they become more widespread, as become more normal, I'm not sold that it's as important as a lot of people tell themselves it is. Just because again, early on, I think it was important that they say, look, this could be the only car you would need, right? You can use this car for any application. And that was great because it proved that, electric cars could be, do anything just about a gas car could. The reality is, though, is that these cars are expensive. Nobody that owns one relies on it as their only car. It's just, I won't say no one. I mean, there may be some people, but the percentage of people who only have a long range electric car and do everything just with that has got to be pretty minuscule, given that EVs in general are less than 1% of the market, or about 1% of the market. So I think it's like a lot of things Tesla's done is really important in the transition, but not necessarily super important over the long haul. But that's just my feeling.
Yeah, so I have exactly the opposite, not surprisingly. It's as more electric cars get out there, it's even more important. You don't want to have to rely on having a gas backup. We have a Model X and a Leaf. Those are the only two vehicles that we have. And I called into the show when I drove down to San Diego. And so that was, I don't know how many stops, nine supercharger stops to get all the way from Portland to San Diego. And at 20, 25 minutes, if those were 10 minutes instead, that would have been great. And I'm going to do it again this year in July. I'm driving down there again. So that's another, I don't know what the total trip is. Probably it's over 2,000 miles there and back. So having fast chargers that are there and working and fast is great.
Sorry, I got to jump off, everybody. I got to jump into my second car, which is an EV, and go pick up my daughter from school. Thanks for letting me join today. I appreciate it. Good to see everybody.
Danny, you should come on the show once in a while.
I probably should. Thank you.
Just saying. Thanks, man, for coming on. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was good to see y'all. Have fun with the rest of the show.
Oh, it's going to be great. I feel like there's going to be an angry part of the show coming up.
You think? I mean, Patrick seemed prime for it.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
No, it's nice to disagree. That's fine. You don't have to be angry about it.
I'm just
and again, I don't say this to knock Tesla, believe it or not. But the Bureau of Transportation Statistics say, average American drives 29 miles a day. My argument is less that Tesla has wasted its money on superchargers or anything like that. It's more that I think there's so much more ground to be made in the market with short range, like more affordable short range EVs. Like I just don't. I think trying to make EVs be all things to all people is, again, it was important during the transition. I'm not sure that it's necessarily the way to make real progress right now, because I think there's just so much more ground to be made by saying, listen, instead of having to spend $100,000 to get this giant battery so you can do everything and you're still spending 30 minutes, which is still, I know people like to say, you get to stretch your legs and all that stuff, and that's great. But in reality, if you need to get somewhere, in a long distance really fast, that is still a real disadvantage relative to gas or hydrogen, I guess, if that infrastructure existed. And so I just feel like, generally as a sort of movement, like encouraging EVs, it makes sense to really focus on, the fact that most people drive 29 miles a day. You can do that in a cheap little Leaf. And the economic, right? If you're passionate about EVs, you're going to have, only EVs as quickly as you can. But I think for most people who make car buying decisions purely on an economic basis or what makes sense for them financially, I think there's just so much more progress to be made. Again, by sort of saying, listen, most Americans have 2 cars in a household. Do the majority of that daily driving, for 29 miles a day in your electric car. Make that be the priority, and then down the road worry about your road trip vehicle. That's just strategic.
I mean, I totally agree with you, Ed, but I don't think we're there yet.
Well, that's why we need a variety of choices. There are a lot of people that have different needs, so we need more cars. So having Jag come out with one that fits that market, that's great. And the Leaf, like I said, that's one of our cars that fits a big segment of the population too. That's great. Having a long range EV with supercharger network, that works out for when I do road trips. We drove to like 5 of the 7 wonders of Oregon this summer. It was really cool. We went down to Oregon Caves, and there was a supercharger in Grants Pass, and we went to the Crater Lake, and you could charge up there. It was at the restaurant in the village there. They had a destination charger, so it worked out really well. And having a charging network that is available and wherever you're going to be stopping anyway, like at that restaurant, that worked out great. So I don't think Tesla's wasted anything in building out their network. I think it's made it so that their car is something that people that, hey, I do this long drive, can I do this? And if they can say yes, you want to get rid of all of those roadblocks.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I certainly don't want to. Yeah, I want to be clear that I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I think it was a really important thing. But I think like a lot of the things that Tesla does, crazy high performance, not something that necessarily the market is, broadly screaming out for, or that are, necessary for EVs to become mainstream, but it was a really important thing that they did. And so I just, to sort of spark and get the movement kind of off the ground. And so I think a lot of the things that I think Tesla does really well, in my opinion, are things that are really important during a transition period. But where I kind of start to caution people a little bit is assuming that just because they've had so much success doing the things that they've been doing during this transition period, it doesn't mean that the future is going to all look just like Tesla. And if for no other reason than, the premium market is very limited in size, and you can't get a long range EV, cheap enough to really be a mass market player, at least at this point. So.
Right. And I guess my comments were more pointed at, I mean, this is a Jag event, right? They are in that premium market. They are the ones that should be looking at a fast charge, long range, big batteries, good performance. That's what Jag says. So the fact that they're 80%, 90% of Tesla and all these metrics right off the bat, I guess as an entrant, that's great. But if they say they're taking on Tesla, why not be 10% better in all those metrics?
But I don't know that. Well, again, this is a days long argument about long range automotive marketing and what market segments want. But I mean, I think there's definitely an opening for someone to come in under Tesla with a name that has the cachet that Tesla has and a history, and say, yeah, you know what? It's not the very fastest thing in the world, but it's $30,000 cheaper. Even rich people go, 30 grand. Yeah, sure. Maybe 30 grand is worth it. You know what I mean?
Have they announced a price?
They claim that you can almost buy 2 I-Paces for the cost of one P100DX. So that puts it at about 70 grand?
60.
Yeah. 60? Yeah. They have not, as far as I know, announced a price. Let me see. If I want to build the top of the line I-Pace HSE right now on the website, I'm going to select the first edition. Oh, it's only a limited time. Now that's going to be kind of crazy. Let's select that. Dun, dun, dun. Powertrain. Sure. Yeah, of course. That's the powertrain that I want.
Well, Russell's building that out. Ed, do you know who owns the Jag brand now?
Yeah, it's an Indian company called Tata.
Tata, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think
kind of the Virgin of India?
What's that?
They're a conglomerate. So I said they're the Virgin of India.
Yep. I think they have a lot of IT stuff. Steel, Tata Steel is huge.
Yep, they have a bank as well. Yep. Insurance companies, I think.
They're a huge company.
Yeah. No, and back on the sort of point about how this car competes with Tesla. I mean, I think Tesla has pushed, like, performance, for example. Tesla has pushed that so far. I think it's almost beyond even like diminishing returns at this point. I mean, even they say, like, they're limited by the tire compounds and things like that. And so I think trying to compete with them purely on the things that they've built their brand on, they've done such a good job of that. I don't know that there's a ton of opportunity there. What I'm really curious to see is, how do these cars compare in terms of quality? Are people having to keep them in the shops for the same amount of time, or the service? I think there's a lot of, I think Tesla has left a lot of doors open. And I think there are quite a few customers who would be willing to, sacrifice 20, 30% performance or range or battery size or what have you, to be able to have the, wide variety of, the number of dealerships and potentially a higher level of quality being made by Magna Steyr, which is a company that has a ton of experience building, cars at good quality. So anyway, I don't think there's any foregone conclusions here, but I think that, if I were to, be launching a car to compete with Tesla, I would not try and take them head on the things that they built their brand on. I would absolutely target the things where they've pretty clearly struggled, because I think those things do matter to a lot of customers.
Yeah, that's true. And there certainly is a market for a $60,000 car versus higher. So yeah, that's the great thing about having more entrants. They're all going to try different things, and the ones that work well are going to do well, and good for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. course, Jaguar doesn't exactly have the greatest reputation for quality in the auto industry, so this may not be the one that really leverages that opportunity. But I think
I was thinking about pointing that out and decided to let it go. So thank you for mentioning it.
No,
just the facts.
But let's talk about that for 1 second. So which luxury auto company has the bulletproof reputation for quality control? Because Mercedes-Benz, I mean, the best and the very worst. Okay.
Lexus, 100%. I mean, it's Toyota. It's and of course they're not jumping into this space. So I mean, I think, you know, Audi, I would like to think is probably going to be a little better than Jaguar, generally speaking, but it's still, you know, those German luxury brands are not super well known for their quality. Not because they're bad at sort of screwing the cars together, more just that they tend to have very complex designs, and that, you know, inevitably creates little niggling issues. But overall, the level of quality in the auto industry is, you know, I think, you know, 20 plus years ago, you know, up until 20 years ago or so, or maybe even less, the differences between brands in terms of their quality was, you know, quite dramatic, right? And this is why you have brands like Alfa Romeo sort of almost embracing this like temperamental Italian character, because, you know, their quality was so much worse. They really had to bring other things to the table in terms of design and styling and performance and emotion, right? And I think what's happened over the last 20 years is that these gaps have really closed a lot. Basically, car companies benchmark each other's cars, really and really try and match them. And quality's gotten a lot better across the board, and so the differences are much smaller now, which is why you see companies like Lexus now really emphasizing their styling and trying to be more bold with their styling, because they can't just coast on that quality reputation anymore, because it's just not as big a difference.
Right.
You don't see cars leaving people on the side of the road the way you used to. It happens, just not as much.
Yeah, most of the time, right? Interestingly enough, the online configurator. Oh wait, no, I can't use that. The build your own Jaguar I-Pace does not give you a price. It gives you all of the options that you've chosen and runs you through basically what feels like a buying process, but in the end, doesn't tell you how much it costs.
Oh man, if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Well, I mean, you know, there's that, right? Which is certainly very, very true. But
I mean, maybe they just noticed that, you know, people were willing to well, not commit, but reserve a Tesla without even seeing it. So maybe they're curious as to sort of how much commitment they can get for you know, without sort of getting into those, you know, revealing those kinds of details. I don't know.
Yeah, that gives them the flexibility to modify it within reason. They've only given broad ranges, so if they get through their production and find out some particular part costs more than they thought or whatever, they can make adjustments if they don't commit.
Sure. And that I mean, that's smart. It may not benefit the consumer or us right now, who want all the details and want all the specs and want it to be, you know, a static thing that we can compare to something else. But I mean, you know, in a day and age of flexible manufacturing, where you might be able to make adjustments to things that don't pan out right away, that's a smart strategy.
But if they say it's for sale today, they should at least announce a base price.
A base price, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, so they just.
Oh no, go ahead, Ed.
They just announced, or they just released. I just got an email from their PR department about it's a press release, but it also doesn't say anything about the price. The one thing that does kind of touch on what I was talking about earlier that I think is really interesting is that it has an 8-year, 100,000-mile battery warranty and Jaguar Elite Care ownership package. So it looks like they have noticed that opening, and are, you know, I don't think typical Jaguars have that long of a warranty. That is also just for the battery though, so that I think that matches Tesla, right? 8 years, 100,000 miles, yeah.
300,000 miles?
100.
100. Okay, yes. And I'm going to guess in California, doesn't it have to be a 10-year warranty?
I don't think so. Why?
No?
Why would it?
For some reason, I thought California had a different battery warranty law.
For electric cars?
Yeah.
Huh.
I thought that you had to warranty it for 10 years.
Well,
now I've got to dig into Google and find out why I thought that. But
yeah, if that's
Is
true,
that part
I
of
would.
that or something?
I'm sorry?
Is that part of the zero emission mandate?
I'm
to
not
qualify
sure.
for ZEV credits or something?
Okay, I'm going to be quiet now because maybe I've just embarrassed myself.
I don't know. Right or wrong, I don't think you embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rules out there, so.
There are, yeah, and different laws in every state obviously make it a little more difficult. At this point, I think Jaguar is just running out the clock. We're not really getting any more information, but we are getting a lot more exciting sort of videos about development and the clay and the aerodynamics without getting like a coefficient of drag or without getting a price. So,
what about
real quick on the pricing, this press release says that pricing to be announced in conjunction with the vehicle's public debut at the Geneva Motor Show on March 6th at 8 a.m. EST. So it looks like next week.
Next week. Nice. Okay, so we'll get a price then. Will you almost be able to buy 2 I-Paces for the price of a Model X? We'll find out.
What about an autopilot competitor? Have they did they talk about that at all?
I'm not seeing anything in the press release.
They have not said anything about autopilot.
They do have over-the-air updates, so that is something.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they say smart settings use artificial intelligence algorithms to learn driving habits and tailor the I-Pace to individual driver preferences. That's not particularly new or exciting, though. A lot of cars have that kind of stuff. But yeah, no semi-autonomous stuff.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I mean, I'm looking at, I'm racing on the website, and a lot of it is very much like you touch pro, you're in charge. You know, they sort of talk about it being a driver's car. Interesting. Again, you know, Tesla goes right, they go left. And I get that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it is interesting to me. Obviously, right, the branding makes sense for Tesla. They're the Silicon Valley car company, so they want to be on the cutting edge of both drivetrain and sort of autonomous. You know, the two big sort of fields of technical development right now. But on a just sort of practical level, it is very strange to see. And this didn't, funnily enough, it didn't even occur to me until I started looking at like the Faraday Future presentations and stuff. It just struck me as like kind of absurd that like there's this assumption now that, you know, really, really insane performance and like some level of autonomy like go together. I mean, they go together because there's innovation happening about those spaces. Practically speaking, though, like it's very counterintuitive that the two would be sort of, again, so closely associated.
Yeah, if the car's driving for you, you don't need super performance.
Yeah.
Right. Legally driving for you. Tesla has done an amazing job of building a brand.
Yeah.
An amazing job of building a brand. It is crazy how many people look at Tesla as that company that sends up cool rockets.
Yeah.
Or at least gets rides on them.
But I mean, that is a perception that the public has, you know, and Jaguar can't claim that, you know, I mean, nobody can claim that. So they are an amazing branding company at a lot of levels.
Yeah. So in the auto industry, we have this concept called halo cars. And actually the I-Pace is a great example of that. This is not a car that's meant to be, you know, to take huge amounts of market share from other competitors or to, you know, be in and of itself a even necessarily profitable model. It's very common to have these high-end cars that they know going into it, it's going to lose money. But they do it to build the halo around the brand, to build the brand. Sure. And I think that one of the things that Tesla has, you know, done, wittingly or not, that is just absolutely, I think, contributes a lot to the power of their brand and is really kind of game changing in the auto industry, is that their halo car is a rocket ship, a literal actual rocket. And even though they're separate companies, you're exactly right. Like, people associate them in their mind. Elon Musk connects the two of them, and like, yeah, like Teslas are fast. They're like, people call them the rocket ship themselves, and there's some similarities there. But like, I think just that association of cars with the technology that is way beyond anything that you see in the cars. And what's interesting about this is that, car technology has gotten so mature now that like Halo cars have to be more and more like only for the track, right? Like Aston Martin has Valkyrie or whatever, and like you literally can't drive it on the road. It's their Halo car, but you can't drive it on the road because, or at least the Vulcan, anyway, one of a couple of their Halo cars. You can't drive it on the road because in order to get this like really exciting styling and just insane performance, they could not homologate it for global markets. And so what you're seeing is like there's less and less bandwidth than ever to create a truly exciting, compelling Halo car. And I think by having SpaceX performing that Halo role, it's I don't think that's a moat too. That's like who's gonna start up a rocket company in order to match that? Like,
right. Well, and this comes in a vacuum of NASA being run down into the ground, and now here's SpaceX to fill that vacuum, literally a global vacuum, for the intensity of excitement in space travel. Holy shit, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, as the marketing guy or marketing woman, whoever it is at Jaguar, going like, how do we compete with that? I mean, you don't.
Yeah.
So you fall back on what you do, and maybe you see a niche. Maybe it's like, maybe if we go just under the Model X and we do this, I mean, I think it's clever. Will it work? Well, it'll be interesting to see the price. If this does come out at like 110, I'm going to smack somebody a Jag. and I know no one at Jaguar, so no one's.
There'll at least be a good rant out of it next week.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, maybe so. I think we're going to wrap this up, guys. I do want to. Before I do that, I want to give obviously both of you a chance for some final words. So, Patrick.
No, thanks for inviting me. Great show. Real interesting. I'm glad to see more electric cars coming out and more options for people who want to buy them and under more brands. If you're a Jag fan, hey, awesome. Now you can have this car instead of a gas car.
I always, if they come out with an electric like 75 XJ6, that will be the car I will buy. Okay. In hunter green, tan leather interior. That's my car. Ed,
I'll take one of those too.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
But it has to be electric, and it has to have the big chrome bumper.
Yeah. So no, thanks for having me on. This is really fun and interesting. I think, we're sort of moving out of a period where Tesla has been all alone and leading the way by itself. And we're entering a period where that's no longer the case. And there's going to be some very real competition. I'm really excited to see this Audi e-tron Quattro, and then the e-tron Sportback the year after. I think, the more the merrier, right? It's going to make everybody better to have this kind of competition. And I think it's going to be really interesting to watch and sort of compare and contrast finally, sort of to really narrow down sort of, what are the actual things that people can't compete with Tesla on, and what can they match or potentially exceed. I think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic to watch. So thanks for having me on. Let's do it again when Audi comes out with her, and keep it up.
Yeah. And by the way, just for those of you watching, thank you. We just got a bunch more viewers because the live stream at Jaguar just ended. So we're going to sign off. We've been talking for an hour. Thanks for joining us late. Ed, thank you. Patrick, thank you. Danny Cooper was here. For those of you, few people who may even remember who Danny Cooper is, he was on the show this morning. So thanks to all of you. Tune in, watch our reviews and our weekly shows at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. And of course, Twitter at whatdrivesus. Thanks again, gentlemen. Thanks to all of you. Have a great night, and we will have a great day, and we will see you next week.